Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that your days feel calmer, lighter, and more in your control than ever before. The constant need to keep up with a long list of friends has faded, and instead, you spend your time exactly how you want, doing things that bring you peace, fulfillment, and genuine happiness. As the years pass, the way you see life begins to evolve. What once seemed vital, like keeping a wide network of friends, may no longer feel as important. Here's the truth. After 70, friendships aren't always a necessity. That might sound surprising at first, but when you look closer, you'll see that independence, self-prioritization, and peace of mind often outweigh the effort of maintaining connections that no longer add value to your life. Choosing yourself doesn't mean pushing others away, it means making space for what truly matters to you. In this video, we'll walk through 6 key reasons why friendships may not carry the same weight in your later years as they did before. You'll discover how your mindset, freedom, and even overall health can benefit when you step back from maintaining relationships that no longer bring you joy. This isn't about shutting people out, it's about designing a life that fits you, without the extra demands and expectations that can sometimes come with social connections. Make sure you stay with us until the end, because you might discover that releasing the pressure to maintain certain friendships isn't just freeing, it could completely transform the way you experience and enjoy your later years. Let's dive in. Number 1. You no longer need to prove yourself to anyone. One of the biggest reasons you may not feel the same need for friendships after 70 is that you've already moved past the stage of life where validation from others carries weight. In your younger years, socializing often came with subtle strings attached, proving you were competent at work, showing you belonged in a certain circle, or keeping up appearances to maintain a reputation. Whether it was making sure you were invited to every event or staying relevant in a particular group, there was always an unspoken pressure to be seen. But now, you've reached a chapter where those rules no longer apply. You've already weathered the storms of competition, comparison, and approval-seeking. The applause of others, once a measure of success, no longer stirs you. Fulfillment now comes from a deeper, quieter place, self-contentment. There's no urge to join a group for recognition or to keep friendships alive just for the sake of optics. You've learned that your identity stands strong without the scaffolding of public opinion. Younger people often carry the invisible burden of wondering whether they're liked, respected, or considered important by others. But in your later years, you discover that such concerns are fleeting and, in the grand scheme, meaningless. Your worth has never been determined by the size of your social circle. It's defined by your experiences, your resilience, and the way you've lived your life on your own terms. Consider Eleanor, a retired teacher who once spent decades surrounded by colleagues, parents, and community members. Her phone used to buzz constantly with invitations, updates, and favors requested. Yet, after retirement, the chatter quieted. At first, she tried to keep those connections alive out of habit, sending messages and arranging meetups. But then came a simple truth. Most of those relationships existed only because of shared circumstances, not genuine closeness. Why cling to something that was never rooted in real depth? Eleanor redirected her energy toward the things that truly mattered to her: learning to paint, spending afternoons in her garden, and volunteering at the local library. Without the weight of forced social obligations, she felt lighter. No more scripted conversations, no more pretending to be interested in topics she didn't care about, and no more silent pressure to maintain a certain image. She was finally free to live without a social scoreboard. The beauty of letting go of the need for external validation is that it gives you back something priceless: time and mental space. When you stop investing in shallow connections, you gain more capacity for self-discovery, creativity, and peace. You no longer bend yourself to fit into spaces that don't fit you. Instead, you grow comfortably into the person you were always meant to be. And here's the real secret: the people who truly matter will remain in your life without any effort on your part. Genuine connections don't need constant maintenance or proving they simply exist. At this stage, you realize that your life's richness is not measured by how many friends you have, but by the depth of your own self-respect and the joy you find in simply being yourself. Number 2, peace becomes more valuable than socializing. As the years pass, priorities shift, and you may find that peace quietly takes the top spot over constant social activity. In your younger days, being surrounded by people felt almost essential. The buzz of conversation, the laughter, the shared moments. It all seemed to define what it meant to live fully. But with time, a different treasure reveals itself, the kind of quiet that feels like a warm blanket for the soul. It's not just the absence of noise, but the relief from unnecessary drama, unspoken expectations, and the fatigue of always being on for others. Friendships, even deeply valued ones, often come with a maintenance cost: calls to return, favors to consider, and meetups to plan. While none of this is inherently bad, there comes a stage where it feels like more obligation than joy. You start to realize that you don't have to answer every message right away, nor do you need to attend every gathering to prove you care. You don't have to stretch yourself thin to meet other people's timelines. Take Raymond, for example. In his late 70s, he once thrived in an active social life: weekly coffee meetups, monthly group trips, and long evening chats. But as the years rolled on, he began to notice that many conversations went in circles, old stories recycled without much substance, and sometimes meetups left him feeling more drained than uplifted. One day, after skipping a lunch he'd been guilted into, he spent the afternoon listening to his favorite jazz records while tending his plants. The sense of calm he felt afterward was unlike anything a crowded cafe could offer, and that's when it clicked: he didn't need constant company to feel alive. When you start honoring your need for peace, you discover how rich solitude can be. There's no pressure to keep up appearances, no fear of missing out, and no performance to maintain. Your energy becomes yours to protect, and you choose to invest it in what nourishes you rather than what drains you. This stage of life teaches a valuable truth. Stepping back from social busyness isn't closing the door on joy, it's opening the door to a quieter kind of happiness. A happiness that doesn't depend on group approval or nonstop connection. And here's the best part. Peace has a way of deepening over time. The more you choose it, the more you realize it's not an escape from life, it's the purest way of living it. Now, imagine this. It's early morning, and you're sitting by a window with a warm cup of tea. Outside, the world is waking up, but you're in no rush. The only sound is the soft rustle of leaves and the steady rhythm of your own breathing. In that moment, you're not missing anyone, and you're not waiting for a call. You're simply there, completely content. That's the kind of peace no party, meeting, or busy schedule can give you. If you're reading this and nodding along, it's time to make your move. Start saying no without guilt. Protect your quiet moments like the treasures they are. And if you've found value in this message, type number 2 in the comments and share this with someone who needs the reminder that peace is not only precious, it's worth choosing every single time. Number 3. Fewer friendships mean fewer disappointments. One of the more sobering truths of life is learning that not everyone you share good times with will stand by you in difficult ones. With time, you notice patterns: people who slowly fade away without explanation, companions who vanish when your needs outweigh the convenience of your company, and relationships that feel one-sided no matter how much kara you give. By the time you reach your later years, you realize that having fewer friendships doesn't just reduce social obligations, it also spares you from a long list of letdowns. Every friendship, no matter how close, carries an unspoken set of expectations: returning calls, offering help, showing up when needed. When these expectations go unmet, disappointment often follows. You make the effort, but it's not returned. You reach out, but the silence echoes back. And the question becomes clear: do you really need to carry the weight of those disappointments anymore? The answer is a resounding no. Take Helen, for example. At 76, she had once been the glue holding several friendship circles together, organizing lunches, remembering birthdays, and checking in on everyone. But as years passed, she noticed that many people only reached out when they needed something from her. When she quietly stopped initiating contact, some friendships dissolved almost overnight. At first, it hurt. She wondered why they didn't fight to keep the connection alive. Then she realized the truth: it was never mutual in the first place. When you stop chasing after people who don't value your presence, something powerful happens to reclaim your emotional energy. You no longer wait by the phone or wonder if you've done something wrong. The friendships that remain are the ones that truly matter, built on reciprocity rather than convenience. This shift isn't about closing yourself off from the world, it's about valuing your peace enough to protect it. Instead of juggling many shallow connections, you focus on a few that bring genuine comfort and joy. It's quality over quantity, and the quality is what gives your later years a deeper sense of contentment. Now, imagine your days free from the frustration of unanswered calls and unreturned gestures. Picture your circle as small but steady people who make you feel safe, respected, and understood without you having to constantly prove your worth. That space, once filled with unmet expectations, is now open for hobbies, rest, and moments that nourish your soul. So, here's your gentle reminder. You don't have to keep every friendship alive. Let go of the ones that bring more stress than joy, and cherish the few that truly feel like home. And if this resonates with you, type number 3 in the comments to let me know you're still here, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Number 4, your time becomes more precious. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that your days feel shorter, not because the sun sets faster, but because you become aware of how finite your time truly is. Every decision about where to go, who to see, and what to do suddenly carries more weight. You're no longer looking to fill the hours, you're looking to make them count. With age comes a sharper awareness that time is the one currency you can never replenish. In youth, it's easy to feel as though there will always be another day to connect with friends, join social gatherings, or maintain every relationship. But as the years pass, you realize that every hour spent is a choice, and not every choice deserves your time. Reaching your later years changes how you view each moment. You begin to value peace over noise, depth over surface-level chatter, and genuine connection over mere social obligation. The clock feels different not in its ticking, but in how you perceive its worth. Friendships, as meaningful as they can be, require energy and attention. Calls need returning, plans need arranging, and conversations need time to flourish. While some relationships continue to bring joy, others feel more like obligations, remnants from a past you've long outgrown. At this point in life, you have the right to be intentional. You can ask yourself, does this person make my life better, or am I keeping this bond because it's familiar? That clarity can lead to difficult but necessary choices. Consider Evelyn, a retired teacher in her late 70s who once filled her calendar with community events, neighborhood meetings, and endless coffee dates. Over time, she began to notice that many of these interactions left her feeling tired instead of uplifted. After one particularly draining afternoon of idle gossip, she made a quiet decision: her time would no longer be spent just to fill space. Evelyn began politely declining invitations that didn't excite her. She swapped hours of empty conversation for time spent gardening, sketching, and enjoying quiet evenings with her favorite books. To her surprise, the reduction in social activity didn't leave her feeling isolated, it left her feeling free. That is the gift of being selective. When you release what drains you, you create room for what nourishes you. Your hours become yours again, spaces of time to engage in the things you truly enjoy and to live on your terms. The beauty of this stage of life is that you no longer need to prove yourself to anyone. You have earned the right to spend your time without guilt or explanation, shaping your days around what makes you happiest. And remember, valuing your time isn't selfish, it's self-respect. Each moment you choose to invest in yourself is a moment well spent. If you've been nodding along, comment number 4 below to let me know you're here, and don't forget to subscribe so we can keep sharing more insights that matter to you. Number 5. True companionship comes from within. Many people believe that happiness in later life depends on having a large network of friends, but the deeper truth is this: the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one you cultivate with yourself. By the time you reach your 70, you've walked through decades of experiences, some joyful, some painful, all shaping the person you've become. With that comes a rare kind of wisdom, the understanding that you alone are your greatest source of stability and peace. From an early age, society teaches us to seek fulfillment outside ourselves through relationships, social activities, and constant interaction. And while connection is valuable, there's a crucial difference between choosing to be with others and needing others to feel complete. Some of the most content older adults are those who have learned to see solitude not as emptiness, but as a rich space for self-reflection, creativity, and personal joy. Consider Martin, a widower in his late 70s, who once believed that keeping busy with social clubs, group trips, and daily meetups was the key to happiness. Over time, he noticed that despite being constantly surrounded by people, he often felt emotionally tired. He realized that much of his social life was about avoiding silence rather than embracing it. One quiet morning, Martin made a conscious shift. He started scheduling appointments with himself, time for reading in the park, practicing photography, or simply enjoying a cup of tea while listening to the rain. At first, it felt unusual, but soon he noticed that he was calmer, more energized, and surprisingly more confident in his own presence. The real breakthrough came when Martin understood that solitude didn't mean he lacked companionship, it meant he had finally discovered it within. That inner friendship became a source of strength, and ironically, it made his external friendships richer because they were based on genuine desire, not dependence. When you learn to be your own companion, you no longer cling to people out of fear of being alone. You attract relationships that are lighter, healthier, and more aligned with who you are. The pressure to keep up fades, replaced by the joy of connecting naturally with those who truly add value to your life. This kind of self-connection also frees you from the need for constant approval. You stop measuring your worth by how many people call or visit. Your self-esteem becomes rooted in who you are, not in how others respond to you. And here's the most beautiful part: when you genuinely enjoy your own company, the world around you feels richer. Every walk, every meal, every quiet evening becomes a reminder that you are enough. Companionship from others becomes a gift, not a necessity, and the peace you carry within you is something no one can take away. So, if you've ever feared losing friends or spending more time alone, remember this: the best friend you will ever have is already with you and has been all along. Number 6. Letting go opens the door to a more fulfilling life. One of the greatest acts of self-care you can give yourself in later life is the courage to release what no longer serves you. That means releasing the weight of friendships that have lost their spark, the idea that your worth is tied to your social circle, and the belief that solitude is something to fear. When you free yourself from these burdens, you create space for a life that feels lighter, calmer, and far more rewarding. Many people stay connected to old friends out of habit. They show up to events they don't enjoy, return calls they'd rather skip, and maintain routines that no longer bring them joy simply because they've always done it that way. But imagine what it would feel like to set yourself free from those patterns. To choose only the relationships and activities that lift you up and let go of the rest without guilt. Take Margaret, a former business owner in her early 80s. For decades, she juggled a packed social life, lunches, community meetings, and catch-ups with people she barely related to anymore. She told herself it was good for her, but deep down, she longed for quieter days filled with things she actually enjoyed. One afternoon, after yet another event that left her drained, Margaret made a simple but life-changing decision. She would no longer say yes out of obligation. Instead, she filled her days with walks in the park, painting classes, and time spent with the few friends who truly brought her joy. The result? She felt lighter, more energized, and more in tune with herself than she had in years. Letting go didn't shrink her life, it expanded it. That's the beauty of release. It doesn't mean shutting people out. It means opening the door to what genuinely fulfills you. It's about aligning your days with your values instead of someone else's expectations. And here's the unexpected reward: you start noticing the small joys you once overlooked. The pleasure of a slow morning, the satisfaction of learning something new, the peace of an afternoon spent in your own company. You realize that fulfillment comes not from pleasing others, but from honoring yourself. Once you embrace this way of living, you stop chasing connections out of duty. The people who remain in your life are those who truly belong there. And the time you once spent keeping up appearances becomes time you invest in your own happiness. So the next time you feel pressured to maintain a friendship or commitment that no longer feels right, pause and ask yourself, is this adding value to my life, or am I holding on out of habit? The answer might surprise you one day. It might just set you free. If you're still watching this video and found these insights meaningful, comment number 6 below. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on the bell so you'll never miss more ideas that can inspire and empower you. As this video draws to a close, pause for a moment and think about the ideas we've explored. The notion that friendships aren't essential after the age of 70 isn't a call for isolation, it's an invitation to experience freedom. It's about releasing obligations that no longer bring value, choosing calm over constant demands, and shaping your days around the life you truly desire. You've now seen how stepping back from relationships that no longer align with you can open the door to unexpected benefits, greater joy, more personal time, and a deeper sense of fulfillment than you might have imagined. Which insight spoke to you the most? Perhaps you've already taken steps toward letting go of connections that felt more like effort than enjoyment. Perhaps you've discovered the quiet satisfaction of your own company when you give yourself permission to slow down. Or maybe today's discussion has offered a fresh perspective on why it's perfectly acceptable to put your needs first. We'd love to know your thoughts. Share in the comments one key takeaway from today's video and how you might apply it to your own life. Every comment is valued, and your input encourages us to keep creating content that matters. If you found value here, please remember to like, subscribe, and share this video. Your engagement makes it possible for us to continue producing meaningful and inspiring content. Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to having you with us again in the next video.